What's up? What's up? It's been a while, mainly because it's been, just repairing the same old shit, different day. So there's nothing too new. This is not even really new. This is an iPad 6th generation with a charging problem, and I don't think I've created a video on this yet. So, anyways, I have a little bit of time because it's been a little bit slow for the past, probably since the beginning of November. When I say slow, it's just it's I guess the mail-in repairs have been a little bit slow. Other things have been going smoothly though. All right, so the great thing about iPad repairs now is, I've been saying this for a while now, but this tester right here, the TriStar tester, and the one I have is version 2, but there's actually a version 3 out now, which is supposed to be a little bit faster, but I don't know if I want to spend another $145 to get one that's just a little bit faster, since this seems to do the job. One thing to note about this is that it does give false positives. Well, maybe not false positives, but it almost always says something about the battery not being detected or some shit like that. But for the most part, it's pretty good. You just kind of have to understand the nuances of this damn thing, and maybe it's a little bit better in version 3. So the best thing about this thing is that for iPad repairs, you don't have to remove the screen now in order to detect whether it's a charging problem, PMIC problem, or charge port problem. So with this thing, you can plug it in, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but it says device connected. So you always want to make sure that it says device connected. And so see how it says connect device now, and then plug it in, and it says this charge port is bad. So anyways, so basically you want to make sure it says device connected before you click test, so you can test it. And in this case, the charge port is bad, so that's why we're kind of getting that intermittent problem. Although I think in general this thing is there's a flawed design here with this thing. Sometimes it just doesn't connect in general. Okay, so let's take a look under our scope here. Alright, so one of the most common problems with this, let's see if I can get this thing a little bit more focused. Okay, so one of the common problems with this is a iPad 6th generation model A1954, and one of the most common problems is it's just a really, really poor design here. And when I say that, Apple added these screws here, 4 screws here and 2 screws here to hold this charge port in place. But the problem is that charge port still moves around. I guess they didn't take into account that these screws kind of back out if it's wiggled enough times. So what happens is that people try wiggling it, screws kind of back out a little bit, then there's just a lot of play. I'll kind of show you if I can here, so I can back out of this a little bit. So basically, do you see the charge port moving on the inside? You see how kind of the screws are kind of going back and forth? Well, when this happens, we can kind of look under the microscope a little bit closer, but basically you can kind of see a micro crack. Do you see this crack right here? Do you see this crack right here? This is fairly obvious, but see that crack right there? See those cracks? So basically what's going on is these cracks are causing the connection from the pin to the actual charge port from breaking. So basically it's severing this connection right here to all these. So that's why when you wiggle it, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it doesn't. So the fix is to basically just replace the charge port, which is not hard, but sometimes disassembling this thing is a little bit of a pain in the ass, especially for the iPad Pros 9.7. But for this one, it's pretty straightforward. This problem affects the iPad Air, Air 2, 5th, and 6th generations. And it's just a really, really bad design. And I guess for us, Microsoldering guys, I guess it's beneficial for us to see Apple have these design flaws, because then people send it to us to fix it, right? So this is not a tough repair, and I'm going to kind of show you how to do it. So let me disassemble this thing and then I'll show you the repair. So I mean, there's really not a whole lot to this. If you've done this before, you've seen how to disassemble this thing. So just make sure you remove all the plastic because all that stuff's going to burn. So just take it all off before you start the repair. And then this might be a little boring, but some people might want to see this. I think somebody just commented about how fast my repairs are. I mean, like, not a whole lot of talking to it, but this one might be a little bit longer than anticipated. But it might have some good tips and tricks that you can probably use. So here's what I do. I take a little IPA here in one of these little squirt bottles, and I actually just, sometimes these things are a little bit kind of hard to get up, but put a little IPA down there and squirt it down. IPA evaporates, so you don't really need to worry too much about. Anyways, you really want to slide something that's kind of hard. Not sure you can see that or not, but I just kind of do this, and I just kind of slide and put a little IPA, and it just kind of, and then you really don't want to use a metal tool, but to start it up, you might need it. So anyways, not sure if you can see that or not, but I'm just kind of sliding. After the IPA, after you put the IPA in there, you should just be able to slide it. And if it's giving you trouble, then just squirt a little bit of more IPA in there. And it should loosen. There you go. That'll make it super easy to kind of get out. That's it. Alright, so once we have this sucker removed, so once we have this sucker removed, just remove this little piece of tape back here. Whatever. Alright, so that's it right there. Hey Google, turn smoke on. Alright, so in order to remove this thing, I don't really do a whole lot to it, but I will show you my method. So I just put a little flux on it, and then I get my knife tip, and I put some solder on. I don't know why I do this, but I feel like it maybe makes it easier to get off ultimately. But I just kind of put some 6337 on it. This is not low melt, or I barely even use low melt anymore. But this is just 6337. Okay, so 6337, and you kind of want to just wet the whole thing, I guess. But I don't even know if this really makes a difference or not. But I do it anyways. Leave a little bit of flux on there, and then I blast this sucker. I'm gonna try this time at 400 degrees and 100. And then I just kind of lift up slightly with the end of my tweezer here. So I'll kind of show you on another camera, so maybe you can see that a little bit better. You don't really want to. You don't want to like. You don't want to lift too hard. So basically, you just want to wait for the solder to melt. Once the solder melts, then it should just kind of pop off fairly easily, you know. So like I said, I'm at 400 degrees and 100 airflow. So the airflow is really hot. Oh, it's too hot actually. Burning my damn finger. Okay. We'll see what we can do here. Yeah, it's freaking too hot, man. Let's see this. Kind of blocking it now. That's not really working, is it? Alright, so that's it. Never really want to do more than you have to. And you can kind of check the other side, make sure you didn't jack anything up over here. Everything looks pretty good. Okay, so let's go back to the the scope camera. Okay, so you have no torn pads. You just want to reflux it, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and remove the old solder. I don't think I always do this. Sometimes I just kind of run it over, but this time I'm gonna remove the old solder, just because I'm making a video on it. Alright, so old solder is probably going to be lead free. So now I'm going to reflux it and add some leaded solder, just to make it, this is what I always do. I mean, some people like to just leave it flat probably, but I like to, this has worked well for me. So just a little dripping of it, and I just leave the solder on there, or I mean I leave the flux on there, and then let me go get a charge port real quick. Alright, so let's see. There's not a whole lot to this. Basically, let's see. Okay, so alright, so basically you just make sure it's aligned. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see the damn dot. So sometimes I poke a hole in it just to make sure that I can see it. But basically, you really just want to. Okay, so let's just do this side first, and then we'll kind of. So I'll just do one tack, and then make sure I can get the other dot. See, sometimes I can't really even see it. I think that's good. Alright, so. And if you're having problems, you can just poke a hole through the plastic here. Alright, so that's pretty much aligned. So I'm just going to put some more flux on top. Normally I actually put the flux on top before I do it, but I kind of messed it up here. And then basically I always use my tweezers just because I know I can get all the way down to the bottom layer, you know. And then basically just kind of, I mean, there's not a whole lot to do here. You just kind of go like this. And just kind of push down on it. Well, I'm just doing it lightly right now, but just to get rid of the excess solder that's on the tip here. Then I'll push down on it. Alright, so it's important to basically just kind of push down, apply some pressure to it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's important to apply some pressure with your tip. That sounds a little bit dirty. But anyways, apply a little pressure, and that's really it, really. You really just want to integrate the top and the bottom layers so that they're making connection and they're not going to kind of go bad. Okay, so basically just push down, whatever. I do it several times just to make sure that we have a nice little solder joint, you know, because I do not want this thing coming back. That'll be the worst nightmare. Just make sure you're using enough flux. If you're not using enough flux, then sometimes you might get a bad joint. Okay, so that side looks like it's good. And then I'm actually going to flip this over. mean, there's really not a whole lot to this, man. And if you get stuck like that, just put more flux on it. Okay, so push down, push down. Down. That's why I think it's important to leave some old solder on the bottom, you know, on the pins of on the logic board, because so that way this, you know, the new solder and the old solder will go through the hole and it'll mix it more easily. You know, there's no solder down there. Sometimes you might have a cold joint or something like that. So, all right, so push down. I think I need some more solder. Okay. Okay, so let's see. I think we're good. Anyways, okay, so that's it really. I usually do it like 2 or 3 times, and then get a little IPA, wipe off the old flux, dry it up, use some Kim wipes, wipe it free. Looks pretty good. And if you really want, you can diode mode this. You can diode mode this connector, just like so. And just make sure, you know, just kind of press lightly and just make sure you're getting a connection. I think a lot of these are ground actually. So I don't even really look at the values. I just look to see if it says OL, then I'll kind of check to see if it's supposed to be OL or not. So basically, I'm just making sure that I'm getting a connection to the bottom. If there's no connection to the bottom pad, then it'll show OL usually. Yeah, it will show OL. Unless the pad is supposed to be OL. So like this one's OL right here. Now I'm gonna kind of push down a little bit, and some of these are like the keyboard connection points, or the home button. So they're supposed to show OL. So I think those are probably it right there. I think there's like 2 up here, 2 down here, and so this one's OL too. So I'll just push down on it if I like OL, 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 lots of OLs. Alright, so everything looks pretty good. Next thing I do is I just kind of plug it in outside of the frame here, and I just make sure that I get some sort of a boot loop on my ammeter, and I'm showing 0.10. I think that's fine. Yeah, so that's fine. And then next thing I do is I plug in. For some reason, it seems like you have to give it a little bit of power in order for the TriStar tester to work. So then I'll plug my TriStar tester in again, and then it says wait for it to say device connected. Now I feel like it's actually my device that's jacked up. The TriStar tester, because it's not saying okay. Okay, so let's just see if that works. Alright, it says okay. So I know the charge port is good now. And then we'll just double check. You know, I have had an instance where both the charge port and TriStar are bad. So I'm just gonna let that go. It's gonna take a little bit of time. uh, is it done yet, man? Pretty sure this is good, but I will know more after this test is finished. So I guess, what can I talk about right now? Well, let's see. What have I been doing for the past few months? Well, it's been still been pretty busy. Just not the normal mail-in repairs. I'm not exactly sure. It seems like once the new iPhones were released, the repairs kind of slowed down a little bit. The other thing is also is that I haven't really been marketing for iPhone 10s and above. I've mainly been marketing for the easier repairs, which to me, let's see, the iPhone 7 loop disease, and just kind of like charge ports and backlights and things that are fairly simple to do if you have the tools and knowledge. The iPhone 10s, you know, I finally did one a few weeks ago. It was a VDD main short, and I took the top layer off, put the top layer back, and it was successful. Everything worked fine and stuff like that. And I think, guess I want to credit Jason over at STS for kind of helping me out there a little bit. And basically, the trick is I'll create a video on it the next time I have one. But basically, don't use hot air. Just use your preheater to remove and replace the board, and that will, if you're having problems rejoining the two layers, then that's kind of the solution, actually. Because when you use heat, it actually warps the board a little bit, and it makes it almost impossible to seal it back and offer a warranty on it. So like I said, I've only done one of these, mainly because I have not marketed for this repair at all. Alright, it says warning, so hopefully it says fail. It says check TriStar. Let's see. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but it says fail, EACC2, fail. Everything has failed. Everything in the whole damn world has failed. My guess is that maybe see, I don't think, anyways, I'm pretty sure that once I connect this thing back, I think it'll be fine. So I'll just do it kind of like lightly, and then test it. It may be time to get a new TriStar tester. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, or maybe I just need to sharpen those pins up or something like that, because it's not making proper connection a lot of times. All this praise that I had for this stupid thing, now I'm talking bad about it. But let's see. Okay, so we will just do it the old-fashioned way, which is we will put this back like this, and then we will see. I'll just plug it in, see if I'm getting 2 amps. See, plug that in, 2.5 amps. Okay, so that's good. So 2.5 amps on the ammeter. Pretty sure it's charging now. I guess the other question is, you know, like, well, let's do this. Before I do anything to it, let me just plug the screen back in, and let's just make sure this thing turns on. Because the other common problem is, you know, the thing only charges when the iPad is dead. So I just want to make sure that that is not also the issue, because I think it's highly doubtful, because usually, when there is an issue like a charge port repair that's definitive, then that is most likely the only issue. So I don't expect the TriStar issue or a PMIC issue. Nor I don't even know if I've seen a PMIC issue on the 5th and 6th generations. Maybe I have, but they definitely had it on the Airs and Air 2. Okay, so anyways, it's a little bit hokey here, but I'm gonna see if I can get this thing to boot up here. Oh, without doing much work. So I just need to make sure the battery is not isolated anymore. Okay. Alright, so it's booting up. And it is, right now, it's at, let's see, 0.7 amps. 0.9 amps. 1 amp. 2 amps. Looks like it's kind of going. So, alright, so it has booted up. Booted it. Alright, so it looks like it's all is good. Home button's not connected, so that's why we're getting that message. But it's charging at a full 2.6 amps. It's at 1%. So this already tells me that it's not a PMIC issue, and it's not a TriStar issue either. Because if it's a PMIC issue, then it'll stop charging after it boots up. So anyways, for all intents and purposes, I'm gonna claim that this is a success. But one thing that you definitely want to check after you reinstall everything is the loudspeakers at the bottom here, and then just make sure you're getting a good Wi-Fi signal, because I think that's what these things are right here. So just I can't really check it right now because not everything's plugged in, but I'm going to reassemble it, plug it in, and I expect everything to be fine. So I think I'll just end the repair like this. And I guess, let's see, what else? I was kind of in the middle of talking about marketing and stuff like that. I think I'm going to do another video here. So you have to kind of stay tuned, but I'm going to do a Nintendo Switch video and kind of give you some ideas on what I learned about that repair. And so anyways, if you want to hear more about what I think about the industry and the iPhone 10 repairs and all that garbage, stay tuned, alright, and just watch my next video, which is probably gonna be a Nintendo Switch one, alright. So alright, thanks for watching this repair, and I will be back shortly. Stay tuned for a commercial break. I just want to say thank you for watching our videos on YouTube. When I started microsoldering about 3 or 4 years ago, probably about 3 years ago, I started because I ended up breaking someone's phone during a repair. Yeah, this was back in the days of the iPhone 5C, and as I was disconnecting the battery, I accidentally pried off one of the little components next to the battery connector. So my options were to try to fix it or to buy the customer a new phone, and that's kind of what started this journey. Well, fast forward 3 years later, we have a website now, Microsoldering.com, and we also have an online training course. It's $99.99 if you buy it through our website, and we go over just about everything that you need to know to get started on your microsoldering journey. It's kind of sectioned out into about 4 parts, and the first part we just kind of go over all of the basics, the tools, how to use diode mode, and what kind of tools and equipment to buy and stuff like that. The second part we talk a little bit about ZXW tools, and in the third part we go over 4 of the most common repairs. Let's update this. It should be 4 common most. So it's basically no touch, no backlight, no power, and we just added a section for audio IC on the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. And then the last part is data recovery, no boot, and just kind of a very basic discussion about data recovery. So if you want to buy it, just go to microsoldering.com, click on Store, Shop, and then you'll come to this page right here. Just click on Buy at Udemy, and that'll take you to Udemy where our course is hosted. And you can even preview some videos of the course and see if you like it or not. And right now we're at 4.5 hours, and we're adding to it as much as we can. So just make sure you go through our website, otherwise the cost is a little bit higher. Alright, thanks for watching.